Well, welcome back to the CJ Taste. Last time, you were introduced to the squad. This time, the Oscars. Why? Because we suck at recording this, and it's been 2 months. That's why. Welcome to the regular...
Has it been 2 months?
Yeah, it's nearly been 2 months.
Oh, fuck, dude. Yeah,
it would be
and
2 months and 4 days. The 18th.
Yeah, so...
But we're here, talking about the Oscars.
So, by the time this comes out, the Oscars will have been irrelevant. They're already irrelevant.
You might be dead.
We're talking about it, but
that's the thing.
Yeah.
We don't know when this is coming out.
We don't know when, but it'll come out soon. Because at the time we're recording this, I haven't even finished editing the first episode,
which was 2 months ago.
Yeah, because it is ridiculously long, and the mixing doesn't work properly, so I had to string it all together myself. It's a pain in the ass.
Alright, well, we're gonna assume most people have seen the Oscars, so...
Yeah.
And it's an award show, so no spoilers, don't even try me with that.
Yeah.
Because I will jump over this desk and bunch you.
You won't just get punched, you will get bunched.
You'll get bunched. I said that and I was like, oh god. I was like, that's what I'm looking for when I'm listening to this. Bunched. I was about to call myself out, but then be like, I'm gonna brunch you.
I will, if you give me shit about spoilers, I will hop over this desk, I will give you a big kiss and take you out for a nice meal.
Sunday brunch. 11:30. Be there or be square.
Be on time or be a part of this rhyme.
Yeah, that failed. I failed.
All right, now with that immense failure out of the way, let's talk about another immense failure: the Oscars.
Yeah,
well, I actually don't mean that. So, for the last 10 years, I've considered the Oscars an immense failure just because they don't know what they're doing. And then in 2018, they were under a bit of pressure because their host, quote unquote, quit 2 weeks before the show started. And they decided to not do a host that year. And they thought, oh god, this is going to be the end of us. Our ratings are going to tank. More than they already were, because, no one watches cable television anymore, and B, if they did, they would not watch the Oscars. So, this was a bit upsetting, distressing to them, and then guess what? Their ratings, I think, quintupled. They skyrocketed. And they were like, oh, well, let's just not do a host anymore. So then they did it again this year, and I think these have been the best Oscars I've seen in a long time.
I didn't get to watch them, but I was following with the important information, which was, you know what they should just do? They should just be it should be a 20-minute ceremony with all the winners. Boom. Award won. What's it for? Who won it? Nobody cares about nominations, because if you ain't first, you're last. Ricky Bobby. And just down the line.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair enough, because I think that was the big thing.
It's now it's nobody watches award shows, because they're long, boring, and very underrated.
I think that was the problem, is that the Oscars were under the impression that, if we have a host, people will come to watch the host. But that's not true. Because you take someone like Jimmy Kimmel, for example, who's a late night host, and whatever your opinions are about him, he's a big name. People know Jimmy Kimmel, and there are people who would get excited about him hosting the Oscars. But then you watch him host the Oscars, and it's just pathetic. It's a bunch of random skits that involve young children, where he's adults laugh at the funny children, and then the actors never get to interact with the audience. Let's have the filmmakers go and interact with the audience, but then it just comes across as really pretentious. It's look at us, we're mingling with the normies, we're keeping the riffraff in check. It's Jimmy Kimmel's Oscar hosting is terrible, but luckily, the following year, they just got rid of it entirely.
I think the host next year should be John Cena.
Nobody. They should just keep not doing a host.
No, they should do John Cena, because if what he says sucks, they can't see him, so he can just disappear. Got him.
Well, I didn't think about that. So,
Oh man.
yeah, no, I think it'd be good if they just kept going with no host, because they usually say the awards are going to be like 3 hours long, and then they're like 4.5 hours.
And
they are always over scheduled,
they
and
go
it's always
over.
because of the host. So I don't know. I like when they don't have a host, so I hope they keep doing it.
True. I think I didn't. Did you agree with the winners?
For the most part, yeah. I mean, I think the biggest upset for me was Best Actress. I have not seen Judy, but what I have seen of Judy, Renee Zellweger did not win. I mean, she did win, but she didn't win. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think anybody who has seen Marriage Story can probably agree that Scarlett Johansson was very deserving of that award.
I need to see that movie.
It's so good. It's just amazing. Actually, that too. I don't mind Joaquin Phoenix. I think he's a fantastic actor. I think it's been long overdue that he deserves an Oscar. But I don't think Joker is the movie that he needed to win for. And also, I think Adam Driver in Marriage Story was a better performance. But I definitely agree that Joaquin deserves at least one Oscar.
Good performances. Joaquin, Leo, and Adam Driver.
Yeah, those were the big three. I didn't think Leo was gonna win. I had small hope for Adam, but I kind of knew in the back of my mind the whole time that Joaquin was gonna win. I don't know. I wanted to see Adam win.
There were some scenes in Once Upon a Time that, like, oh man, Leo just
killed it.
Oh my!
Like,
oh
man,
the
when he goes in the trailer and then he throws his fucking bottle across the room.
That shit was awesome. That, and then when he came back to the with the girl.
Oh man! And he comes back after that. And
when he's acting, that he's acting. Oh my god! Those might be the two best scenes, like acting wise, this year. Even though he didn't win, I think.
Yeah, they were. Oh man, they're so good. I think more upsetting than the winners for me were the snubs, because I saw a lot of fucking movies this year, and one movie, and because at this point that we're recording this, the Joker video is out, so you guys have probably seen it, and you've probably seen the end section where I talk about the Oscars and the nominees and whatnot. Definitely for actor, I think the biggest snub, and if he was nominated, he probably could have won just because he was that good, was Adam Sandler.
Oh, and Murder Mystery?
For people who don't know what... No, for Uncut Gems.
Oh, Uncut Gems. I completely forgot that was a movie.
Yeah, and for people who, don't know about Uncut Gems and they don't know, what it is or haven't heard the hype around it, they probably heard me say Adam Sandler just now and wince, but... My God, he is phenomenal in Uncut Gems. I would say it's in terms of leading roles, it's probably my favorite performance of the year.
What is that on? Is that in the theaters only?
I think it is still out in theaters for you guys right now. For me, it's on Netflix. So
I thought it was on Netflix too, because I thought it was a straight to Netflix movie.
It is for other countries because it's a limited release. So if you have a VPN, then you can switch to Australia and you can watch it on that.
Yeah, I don't have one of those.
Which I would highly recommend. It's a fantastic film. It also has Kevin Garnett in it, Kevin Garnett, who plays Kevin Garnett.
Yeah, I knew that was.
And he's fantastic.
Really?
Yeah, it blew my mind. He walked in the jewel shop for the first time. I'm like, that's Kevin Garnett. And. Oh, he was good. I didn't see it coming.
Like LeBron in Trainwreck.
Oh, that's right. LeBron was in Trainwreck.
Bad movie. Bad movie to choose.
That is a terrible movie. You know your movie's bad when LeBron James, who doesn't act, is the best part of it.
Best actor, too.
Yeah, that too.
That and John
is
Cena
it?
takes
Like-
the second. Oh man, he takes second
that
place.
too. Like, you know your movie's bad when sports stars who aren't actors are the best part of it and
Go
the
go
best
1-2.
performers.
Yeah, Jesus. Oh man, they could have written a better script than that. Speaking of
I
which,
mean,
great
didn't Amy
script.
Schumer write it?
Yeah, but she can't write. Like she doesn't know how to write. And then you look at someone who does
Yeah,
know how to write a movie, Tarantino.
Like Bong Joon-ho? Oh, I thought you were getting back to the... Well, Tarantino as well. That is a good point. Tarantino knows how to write a script.
He knows how to.
Oh yeah. So for me, I was very surprised when I started seeing, because I made a prediction a while back when I was talking with my friends about the Oscars before the nominees even came out, and I was like, Parasite could be the first foreign film to win Best Picture. And everybody was like, what are you talking about? Not going to happen. And for some reason, there were a bunch of people who were like, it's going to be the Tarantino movie. Everybody was saying it's going to be Once Upon a Time in Hollywood because it's one of his last movies, so it would be a good time to finally give him his recognition. Because a lot of people think that they make their movie decisions based on political awareness. Like, if you look at some of the history of their Best Picture winners, like Moonlight, Spotlight,
Moon. Spotlight.
Spotlight, Moonlight,
Oh man.
Now after that disastrous joke,
Cringe.
what else is...
cringe,
Oh,
fucking cringe.
Green Book, which is like the ultimate political correctness winner. Because if anybody has ever seen Green Book, you know it's like... Well, I don't know. I'm sure there are some people out there that really enjoy Green Book, and that's very respectable, but it drew in a weird response from people who saw it won Best Picture, because a lot of people thought it was either okay and like not worthy of the win, or it was just like average and also not worthy of the win. But you can tell why it won, because it's like, it's a movie about a white dude learning about black people and stuff like that, even though the real life story was a lot less extreme than that. But because it's a movie, they
Yeah.
had to embellish.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I see why Parasite won, but I think it's so hard. I look at the nominations and it's like
There's so many good ones.
whatever mood you're in, you could easily give it to that movie.
Mm-hmm. I
What-
think, yeah, there are a lot of respectable choices in that list, except Ford versus Ferrari. I have no idea why that movie was nominated.
It was a good movie. Like
it wasn't a bad movie, but it's just not a Best Picture movie.
it's not an
just-
no,
kinda
it's not an
just-
Oscar
just-
movie.
yeah.
It's surprising.
It's good for like the technical awards. Like I can see why it won film editing. I can see
Yeah.
why it won like sound design or whatever that was. But I don't know. I don't see why it's a Best Picture nominee, especially when there are so many other movies out that came out in the year that are like very, very deserving. Like
True.
the big one that I mentioned at the end of the Joker video was The Lighthouse. I think that The Lighthouse is probably the most snubbed movie of the year. Like, Robert Pattinson could have got nominated for actor. They could have given it for editing. They could have given it for sound design. They could have given it for sound mixing. They could have given it for best original score. And especially, the biggest one that makes me so fucking pissed is that they didn't give Willem Dafoe best supporting actor. Willem Dafoe had probably the best performance of the whole year in The Lighthouse. And they were just like, nah. But, I mean, what upsets me especially is like, oh, well, maybe they just didn't see it. They did. Because it was nominated for cinematography. It lost, of course, because 1917 came out this year. But
and you just ain't gonna beat that. Not a
yeah,
chance.
I know. I mean, I think The Lighthouse has better cinematography than 1975, but I just knew it wasn't going to win. I just knew, like, well, 1975 is a one-shot movie. Of course they're going to give it to that. I don't know.
What
So
movie
much
should have
not
won
love
Best
for The
Cinema?
Lighthouse.
No, it was last year though.
I don't even remember what won Best Cinematography
No, but
last
what
year. What was
it should be? It should have been the movie about Queen.
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah. That
No, you're
shit.
thinking of editing, which
Uh,
that won. That movie
Oh
won
yeah, it
Best
did win
editing.
Oh my god.
What the fuck?
Holy shit, dude. 20, like, what was it? It was some absurd amount of cuts. Oh
It was like in like a scene that was barely under 2 minutes, where the only exciting thing happening was that they were talking to their potential record manager who was gonna like hire them or whatever, and there were, I think, a total of 62 camera cuts.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Which, in any scene, no matter what's going on or how long the scene is, that is absurd. That is absolutely absurd.
It's fucking, I'm like, what the heck? I remember you had me watch that.
Yeah, because there's like so many videos where they count down how many camera cuts there are in the scene, and the higher the number goes, the more you start to notice, oh yeah, this sucks.
Yeah, it was. I don't get it. Who was the biggest winner?
The biggest winner this year
Yeah.
it was probably Parasite. Oh, you mean the one that won
Like,
the most awards?
won the most.
Actually, that's a good point. Usually it's the technical movie, like the one that gets the most awards for the technical stuff is the one that is totaled up.
Yeah.
But I think it might be Parasite.
So, okay, Once Upon a Time won 2.
Parasite won for Best Picture, Best Director, Foreign Language, Original Screenplay,
2.
and
4.
That's it.
It
Okay,
won
so
4.
that's 4.
I'm gonna search up
1917 won 3.
Ford versus
yeah, no, I
won
think it's
2.
Parasite.
It has to be, yeah.
Yeah. See, that's good. I mean, I'm fully aware that Parasite probably didn't win all those awards because it was the best in all those categories, but more because the Oscars were like, hey, we're not racist.
The worst thing is that literally all the nominations for Best Film could have won if they had their own year.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You put them. Over the last decade, you put them out, they'd win 90% of them. Probably.
Yeah, like I wouldn't say something like Joker or or like Jojo Rabbit or Ford versus Ferrari. I mean, all good movies except Joker, but the anti-Joker agenda will continue. But yeah, no, I mean, I definitely see your point. There's like, because a lot of people say this was like a weak decade for movies. That's not true. The people who are saying that, they only watch the Oscars. That's their indication of like what good movies are, is that they watch the Oscars and they read the nominees afterwards. These people do not go out and do their research because there are so many some of my favorite movies like of all time came out this decade, like Birdman or The Master or something like that. Like there's so many good movies that people just completely ignore.
I think
because the Oscars are their indication.
Yeah, it like Once Upon a Time, like The Irishman. That's like I look at that, I'm like, that movie got so unlucky.
Oh yeah, that's another one. Like if that was, if The Irishman came out, like a couple years ago.
Oh my god.
What was? Oh yeah, no, The Shape of Water. Yeah, if it came out like 2 years ago, it would have won. It would have had a huge year.
Oh my god, it was. I got unlucky. Did it win? I don't think it won.
The Irishman did not win a single award.
That's stupid. It should have.
What the thing that upsets me the most is that, because I still haven't finished The Irishman. Actually, that's just it's too fucking long.
Where are you?
Where
are you in it?
I'm like halfway through.
What is he doing?
Oh fuck, I can't even remember.
He's with Jimmy?
I think he. Huh?
He's with Jimmy Hoffa?
Yeah, I think he was with Jimmy. So the thing that bothers me the most, and I get why this snub happened because there were just so many good actor performances this year. Robert De Niro did not get nominated for Best Actor.
He should have. He was.
Which especially upsets me because Joe Pesci and Al Pacino both got nominated in Best
supporting.
Supporting.
Yeah,
They didn't win because Brad Pitt was nominated.
Brad
and
Pitt was
there
never
was no
gonna
way
lose
that
that.
was going to happen.
he was phenomenal. It wasn't even that he did everything. That character was so perfect.
Mm-hmm.
It was and like how it tied in to the era, to the story, to the background. Oh man, it was fucking.
It's not a super emotional performance, but he just became Cliff Booth.
Oh, he did.
Like,
he did become Cliff.
Like, Cliff Booth is not terribly unlike Brad Pitt, just the person, but it's like, I was just watching the movie, I was like, that's not Brad Pitt anymore.
Yeah, no, yeah. I didn't even see it, even Leo. I was like, I didn't see it as Leo. I saw it as
Yeah,
Rick
you were like, that's
Dalton
Rick
and
Dalton.
Cliff. Yeah, I was like, that's Rick, man.
Yeah. A couple days after I saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, I watched, what am I thinking of? Inglourious Bastards
Great
again,
movie.
which is a great movie. And, like, as soon as Brad Pitt came on screen, I was like,
That's Cliff.
that's Cliff Booth.
Oh,
Like, I just couldn't unsee it.
yeah, he was phenomenal, and it's just like, when he's killing the Manson family. Oh my god,
It was hilarious.
he calls his dog, gets the wrist, the girl charges him, he just point blank while tripping off acid. Boom.
Oh my god.
Can to the face.
Yeah, when the guy burst through the door and he had the can of dog food in his hand, and then the other girl came through the side, I was like, he's gonna fucking throw the can at one of them.
Bro, I was like, the
Like,
can's
as soon
coming.
as they walked in, I knew exactly what was gonna happen.
Oh my god.
But it was still so satisfying.
There should be best pet. I'm sorry, but that dog would have won in a landslide. In a
Best
landslide.
animal actor.
Oh my god. It would have been a landslide.
Brandy
Love
would've
that
won.
dog.
Yeah.
She took 5
there's not
sleeping
really
pills.
many other choices.
She'll be out until Columbus Day. You guys might need to come up here and wait just to wake her up.
Take care of Brandy for me. Oh, she chilled with Francesca. You ain't never getting her back.
Oh man. The
So many
baboon
quotables
scene.
in that movie.
Are you a baboon? He was, cause you could like, I've never acted, but I was like, I could feel the frustration, cause it was not a, you have to be in this line of work to understand. It's if you have ever wanted to be good at anything, and didn't live up to
Yeah.
your standards, you could relate, and it was perfect.
Oh man, yeah. Like because I do a lot of acting, and there are so many times. Like I don't have a meltdown like that. Like I don't destroy my acting trailer that I don't work in. But there have been plenty of times where I just finish a performance and I'm like, I did not do what was required of me. I did not meet my own standards. That is upsetting.
Are you a baboon?
It really does, like, it really does bother you.
Yeah.
Like, I know that even as much as an exaggeration as it probably is, there have probably been actor meltdowns similar to Rick Dalton's throughout the history of Hollywood.
Oh, for sure. I bet Leo's had a few.
Probably, honestly.
He probably didn't call himself a baboon and throw his flask into a...
Oh
Sure.
man, what if we found out that whole thing was just improv and he channeled it from previous experiences?
Oh, man, that would be awesome.
Ugh. I mean, it's probably not true because we probably would have found out it was improv by now. Like
True.
the way that, like, immediately after the film came out, it was revealed that he improv that scene from Django.
Yeah, I heard about that. Oh, my God.
See,
It's
like that's a great scene and it's like phenomenally acted. But I feel bad for Kerry Washington. She just got Leo blood smeared all over her face. And he wasn't even told to do that, so he just did that by his own volition.
No,
And
it's-
she just kind of had to put up with it.
Had to eat it. Oh, my God.
She
I was
could have gotten
watching...
AIDS.
No.
Imagine if that happened. Oh my god. Kerry Washington got AIDS from Leo DiCaprio.
I put that on a resume. That was me. Got AIDS from Leo.
Gary Washington goes to act. Part of her resume says that she got AIDS from Leo DiCaprio.
That'd be freaking awesome. I was like watching clips of Django, and like when Django like shoots the woman in the house from like the side, and she flies straight back, super unrealistically. That is so funny. You could watch that.
It doesn't matter if it's unrealistic. It cracks me up.
That's like
it's like when I watch like those Friday the 13th movies. Have you seen any of them?
Yeah, I've seen most of them.
Yeah, did you ever see Freddy vs. Jason?
I've seen parts of it. It's not good, but
it's not good. But did you ever see that scene where like the van crashes and it's like flying through the air, and then Jason just goes flying out of the back doors?
No.
And it's like a Chinese movie where like someone kicks somebody in the chest and then they go flying for like 300 feet. That's what it looked like. Like he literally shot out of the van and into the air.
Wee. Oh man, that's. What, was there anything like that? There wasn't anything really like that. Oh no!
In Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
No, yeah,
nothing,
there was
like
no
super insane like that.
Not
but
super.
There was like in the last scene, it was definitely made for laughs.
No, but also when the guy stabs Cliff's tire, it's not super unrealistic, but he goes up just to jab to the teeth, and the dude off his feet flying backwards.
Oh yeah.
And then he was getting pounded by Cliff, man. Oh wait, I know you all. Spawn Ranch. What's your name?
Oh,
it's like
what's your
it's
name?
Like,
I'm the devil, and I'm here to do the devil's business.
No, it was stupid.
Something dumber than that.
It was something dumber than that. Oh my god, that was awesome.
I don't think, like, for some reason, I don't know why. As soon as like he walked through the door and he goes like, "Are you real?" and the guy goes, "I'm as real as a donut, motherfucker." I was the only one in the theater doing it, but I just cracked up when he said that.
I was laughing too. That was funny. I'm as real as a donut, motherfucker.
It's just so random. It's like, what the, like, is that supposed to be intimidating? I love the way that it keeps going. Like, the scene just does not stop.
Oh,
like, you think, like, he hits the dude and then he, like, throws the can at the dog, throws the can at the girl, and then he just starts stomping the dude's face in,
and then the dog's on the
other girl, and then the other girl comes over, he like bashes her head in on every fucking thing in the house, and then you're like, oh my god, okay, it's over, and then the girl goes out back, falls in the pool, and Rick comes out with the fucking flamethrower.
No, did you notice the foreshadowing for the flamethrower being used? Like when Cliff's walking out of the shed, it like the camera like pans down, and you can see the whole flamethrower there. And they talk about it, saying it's the only stunt he's ever done. It was phenomenal work.
Oh man, it was. I remember like everybody in the theater was just busting up laughing during that scene.
I wish I could see that in theaters.
Finally, like, he comes out with the flamethrower and everyone is just dying.
Bro,
and
I
clapping
feel like,
and cheering.
I feel like what they should do when Tarantino makes his 10th and final film, they should release all 10 in theaters at the same time.
Probably. It would be like they'll have those special events, like when they were screening Endgame, they were like, come watch 31 hours of Marvel movies beforehand. And I was like, fuck that.
31 hours? You'd be in there for a day just to get to
I can hardly stand 2 hours of a Marvel movie. Why would I want to watch 31?
Yeah, and then on top of it, in a public place, I could do maybe 31 hours, like, if I was home. But going out and doing that, nah, I'm good.
Yeah. I mean,
it was,
I can't do that kind of stuff. I did do a.
I gotta watch True
Romance. We didn't do it in
Jackie
anticipation for anything. Oh, that the ones that he wrote, not like wrote and directed. See, there was talk a while back that he was going to do a Star Trek movie.
God, I hope not. He would not.
Yeah,
be
that's
named.
not. It's not happening anymore. I think.
Good.
I think the
Good. That's
project
not
got
him.
canceled.
That's not him.
It's not him. Well, actually, I don't know. There was a part of me that was like, that's not Tarantino. But then the other part of me was like, he could make Star Trek better.
Yeah, but
He could finally make a good Star Trek movie.
Yeah, but he does well when he can make his own characters. Make their own story.
That was what I was. Yeah.
And even if they had him direct it, he'd be nothing but more than a puppet for a bigger studio.
Yeah, it's like if Guy Ritchie directing Aladdin. You watch Aladdin and you're like, this is not a Guy Ritchie movie. This is a Disney movie.
Yeah.
With Guy Ritchie's name
No matter
slapped on
what,
it.
no matter really, unless it says like Parasite, you can tell which movies are like not.
They're like genuine.
Yeah.
Like they came from a person, not from a studio.
Yeah. I love just like the radio in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh, absolutely. Like to this day, I still go back to the playlist they have on iTunes of all the songs in the movie, and I just listen to it.
It's great. It was just like the tension Tarantino was able to build with like, and cause like the first moment you get to Spawn Ranch, you kind of tell like,
something's wrong.
Something's wrong. Even if you didn't know anything about Manson, you can feel it.
I mean, from the second you see Margaret Qualley's character, you can tell something's wrong.
True.
Like, she is, like, going to Spawn Ranch, and she lives there, apparently, and you're like, oh, okay, something's up with Spawn Ranch.
Did you know Burt Reynolds was supposed to play the blind guy?
I did, but he died.
I know, I heard about that, and I was like, that would have been amazing. Best actor.
Man.
Best actor in a supporting role. Burt Reynolds.
Oh, man.
For a minute or two of screen time.
I was gonna say that would have been a bit of a stretch for the Oscars, but
hey man, you just gotta slide them $100, and they'd be like, we got you.
That was impressive to me too. The way that Tarantino was able to get so many huge people for like 2 to 5 minutes of screen time each.
Oh, I know, but like even he's had like Sam Jackson do that. What movie was Sam? Like,
oh, legit. There was one
Django
point
Unchained.
you know where well, I don't know. He had a pretty big role in Django Unchained.
But it was not. It was like,
I think,
what, 30 minutes max?
Yeah, but I mean, in a movie that is still pretty good. Actually, no, he was there for like the last hour of the movie.
That was an hour? Damn.
Because he was there during the whole dinner scene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who else?
I mean, I definitely think.
Oh no!
You said that, it reminded me that Django is another movie that absolutely overstayed its welcome. Django is a fantastic movie, but like they could have cut out like 20 minutes at the end. Probably, like if they had just combined the gunfight scene after he shoots the German guy, and then combine it with like the end scene where he goes back to the ranch and he blows it up. If they just put those two together, it would have been much better. We didn't need like that whole 20-minute chunk of time where Django was getting like shipped off somewhere.
I haven't watched it in a long time, but I need to. But
it's still fantastic.
No, you know who they have? You know the dude from I think Mr. Pink. No, not Mr. Pink. Mr. Blonde from Reservoir Dogs.
Oh, Mr. Blonde. Oh, okay. No,
Mike,
okay. So I remember
Malik.
Steve Buscemi was Mr. Pink.
Yeah.
Oh God, who is Mr. Blonde? Oh! I don't know his name, but I know who you're talking about. He's been in other Tarantino movies. He was the guy who was writing his life story in The Hateful Eight.
Was he in the?
Yeah, Mr. Blonde. Mr. Blonde. Just so we're clear, he was the guy who cut off the cop's ear, right?
He was on. Wait, in which one?
In Reservoir Dogs, like
it's been so long.
He was alone with the cop, and then he turned on the radio and he started dancing, and then
Michael
he cut off
Madsen, that's his name.
That's it. Okay, yeah, that's right.
In The Hateful Eight, he was in it.
Yeah, he was the guy who was like he was always in the corner, and then he was like writing his life story.
Oh yeah.
And then Kurt Russell comes up to him. He's like, "Am I in it?" And then he starts writing it, and then he goes, "You just entered." And to kind of go back to the Oscars, what I was saying earlier, I was just gonna say, like, I know that the Oscars giving Parasite all the love is probably less of a move of it's probably less of them thinking, yeah, this is the best movie of the year, and more thinking, hey, we're not racist, guys, look at us. But even then, I don't particularly care, because like, at least that's excuse me, that's gonna get more people to see it.
Yeah.
Like, as many people as I hear say, oh, who cares about the Oscars anymore? People pay attention, and people know that whatever wins Best Picture is probably worth their time. Unless it's not. Like, I don't know, Green Book. or Crash, something like that, I don't know.
Parasite was good. It was
or Spotlight. Oh,
the
fuck
thing
that
about
movie.
Parasite is, though, it's different than Once Upon a Time. Is it hasn't stuck with me as much.
That's fair enough.
Once Upon a Time, it was like the story. There were so many like little things that just like where
That just
I didn't
stuck
get
out.
Yeah, and it's hard getting the small details when I'm looking at the bottom eighth of a movie screen reading. Like, there were so many times I wasn't even watching the scene because I had to read. But you can't dub it. It's not possible.
Yeah.
Because then the dub just ruins it. Oh my god.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's fair enough. There were still a lot of things that I liked about Parasite. Like, there were a lot of things that I think I didn't get it the first time around, but coming back to it and paying more attention, I was like, oh yeah, that's really cool. Like the thing with the rock.
Yeah.
They literally say at the start of the movie, oh, this rock is a metaphor. It's so symbolic, and you're like, okay, this is a symbol for something. But then as you see the progression of it, like, throughout the movie, and you kind of realize what it's a metaphor for, like how it represents the drive for money and more material wealth. Like, the family, they, like, justify it to themselves by kind of saying, like, justifying what they're doing by saying, oh, we're in need. They're rich people. They don't care.
Yeah.
They don't need all this. We need the money. But eventually they just turn into, it just becomes greed for them, because they start, like, actually, spoilers for Parasite, because I'm pretty sure people watching this have probably not seen it, but you absolutely should. It's a phenomenal film. But, like, when they're going in the house and they're kind of invading everybody's rooms, they're, like, taking all the liquor out of the cabinet, and they're eating all their expensive food. Like, it's basically just them kind of getting used to the rich person life, and then just kind of becoming greedy at that point. But then, yeah, and then the kid, like, once all the mayhem goes down, and he's like, I'm gonna solve all this, and then he goes downstairs with the rock to try and fucking kill the people. The dude then gets out, and then he hits him over the head.
Yeah.
And then, as soon as he comes to, first thing he does is, oh, I'm gonna make a lot of money. So he's literally been hit over the head with this metaphor, and he still doesn't get it.
Yeah. He was okay, that kid was, the girl was 15. Of course, we don't know how old he is, but he has to be over.
If he's going into university, he's got to be old enough to know that, well, I don't know, maybe, was she 15? Did they establish that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they established she was, like, 15. Or, like, a sophomore in high school.
Really?
Yeah,
I thought they were saying, like, because he said once she goes into university, I'm going to ask her out. I thought that was, like, them saying that she's going to university soon.
Nope. Sophomore. 3.
Oh, gee. Maybe there's different laws in South Korea. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe
but that is weird now that you pointed that out to me.
Yeah. We were like, don't do it. When he was, like, leaning in for the kiss, I was like, don't you frickin' do it.
Yeah, that is. Oof. I didn't notice that.
Yeah. It was a good movie. It was, I think it probably would have been, like, second, I think, for best movie. I think next podcast we're going to do top, like, the best movies we've seen. Not if they're good movies.
We've seen, yeah.
Top 5 most enjoyable films, I say.
For the year or just overall?
For the year. We could probably...
Okay.
Like, we could probably, like...
Oh, so
do
yeah. So
all time.
we're not gonna be able to record again for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Because it takes a while to edit, anyways.
Yeah.
We just as much as we would like to get into a schedule for this, guys. We are busy people. We have things to do.
Lana Rhodes.
We have porn to watch.
That's fucking funny.
All right. So conclusion on the Oscars, I would say this is like the least cringe of all the ones I've seen. Because I only really started watching the Oscars in like 2009, and by that point it was already getting to a point where people were saying, okay, what's the point of this anymore? But
True.
I don't know. Something about this year's, like the lack of a host, all the winners, like a lot less snubs than usual. I would say this has been a pretty good year for the Oscars. And if they maintain this kind of quality, then yeah, I'll definitely keep watching.
I wouldn't really change the nominations a whole lot, but I would have changed a few of the winners.
Yeah, I think everybody would. Like, no matter who you are, no matter how much you agree with the Oscars, you are never going to watch the award show and not have at least one award that you're like, oof, that's a weird winner. Like, that's just never gonna happen.
Joker?
I mean, the things Joker won for, I can understand why it won.
Judy.
Like, it probably did have the best original score out of all those nominees. I think there were better... It's not the best film score of the year, in my opinion. Like, there have definitely been better ones, but out of those 5, I think it does have the best. Like,
Yeah.
I heard a lot of people complaining about 1917 not winning, which is extremely weird to me. Because even people who really enjoyed 1917 very much recognized that the music was used very inappropriately.
That's what the trailers kind of make it look like. Looks like the
Yeah.
music's like not where it should be.
There are plenty of scenes where you're like, is this the right tone? Like, what's going on here? But no, I mean, I think there are definitely times where the music in 1917 is very well composed. It's just like... And there are sometimes it works. Like, there's once... Like, you know that scene in the trailer where it's like a shot of him running through, like, a battlefield?
Yeah.
The music in that scene is gorgeous, and it is, like, really good climactic music.
Then he bumps into
But-
an extra, and they keep filming. Masterpiece.
I mean, I think they choreographed that. But
No, it was
I don't know.
they said that was. I was watching a video. They said that was just on accident.
It worked, though.
It worked.
And he did it again, too, didn't he? Like, he ran into another guy?
I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. I didn't see it.
Right, of course. But yeah, I mean, I definitely think that was very good music, and it fit very well in the scene. But other times it felt weird, like something felt out of place. I guess with that we will move on to the final segment of this little episode here, where it is story time. So this is how we're going to split up the podcast. We're going to do discussion, and then we're going to do stories. I introduced that very poorly because I don't know how words work, but I mean...
Words are hard.
You get the idea. Words are very hard. Each time we do this, we're going to have a theme for the stories. We're also going to have themes for the discussions as well. When we start having guests on, we might do that as well.
Hashtag get Elon Musk on the podcast.
Spam Elon Musk Twitter until we get him on the CJ Taste podcast.
That'd be crazy.
I almost said the currently unnamed podcast, but that's not true anymore. The theme for this episode is movie stories, piggybacking off the Oscars discussion. So, the movies, lots of people go to the movies. You go to the movies, I go to the movies, we all go to the movies, and we learn... We go to the movies, okay? Ugh.
Okay, well, If you're
Yeah,
one of
so
these
these
people,
these are times
you're an awful
of
human
just-
being, and you should never go to the movie theater. It's simple. Don't talk. Don't use your phone. And don't rip ass like a motherfucker. Could you? Nah, that's been me though. Sometimes you just get gassy in the movie theater, and it's just,
Dude, you gotta clench it though.
bro. No,
You gotta
that's
clench.
that's why you gotta hope you're in an action movie, and you gotta time it, have it on go, explosion, bam, covered. It works. Like I remember,
Oh my!
it happened
You just
during a
reminded me of a story.
Transformers
But go
movie.
ahead.
Transformers, I was like hella gassy. Best movie to do it in, cause like it's just explosions every 2 minutes. Oh, I gotta rip this one. 2 minutes later, boom. God, it's good. But
Oh man.
oh,
Okay, so you just reminded me. So, do you know of? You know that Eminem song where he goes, like there's a section of the song where it just stops and then there's a fart sound effect included.
oh, what is that?
And then it goes, my CD just skipped and everyone just heard you let one rip.
Oh yeah, this just in or something. It was
Like, just lose it.
just lose it.
So that's basically what happened in a movie theater. So, me, my dad, my sister, and my mom, my whole family. Why didn't I just say my family? So
Yeah,
my
that
family
was
and I
weird.
went to see Baby Driver. And, have you seen Baby Driver?
Yeah.
Do you remember the scene where John Hamm shoots the gun next to Baby's ears, and then he's like, his ears are ringing for
Yeah.
a little bit? Okay, so basically that's what happened. My dad really had to fart, I guess, because I asked him what happened afterwards. So he was using the same technique that you were, where he was just waiting for a loud noise to be able to fart. So he's
Gunshots are
clenching
scary,
his
though.
cheeks real tight. Yeah, he's clenching his cheeks real tight, and then he's like, "Oh, John Hamm just pulled out a gun. Here's when I'll fart." And then he was not expecting that the gun was going to shoot and then not make any noise because his ears were ringing. So the gun is raised in the air. He pulls the trigger, and then there is ringing. The theater is a lot quieter now, and I just hear next to me. And I look over, and my dad is locked in a smile. And my mom is laughing.
No,
And then we got out of the theater, and we didn't, before we even talked about the movie or how much we liked it, it was just, Dad, what the fuck?
no. That you know
How
what would
did
have
you
been
time
really
that
funny?
so perfectly?
What would have been really funny?
He was like, I was trying to hold it for a loud noise.
No, what would have been really funny is if he pulls out the gun, pulls the trigger, but there's not there's no sound, and you just hear. That would have been so. He
That was
replaces the
basically
gunshot.
That was basically what happened.
Oh, I would have lost my shit, dude. I would have been on the ground
was-
rolling.
That was legit what happened.
Oh,
Like, as
that's
soon as the
awesome.
gun fired, I just heard next to me. Yeah, so that was one movie story I had. Do you have any others before I tell my other one?
Just don't use your phone. Talking, it's my brother. He talks in every freaking movie, bro.
Oh.
And he's the guy who has to go to the bathroom every hour. So if you're in a 2-hour movie, that's twice. Which was surprising. He didn't go through Star Wars. That was the only movie I've ever seen.
What the fuck?
Yeah. 5 minutes into Ford v Ferrari, though. Gotta go. I'm like, what? You
Before
mean?
the movie even starts.
Oh my god. No, because there's, I forget, it was, I forget which cinema this is, but they literally do it where, like, the polar bear from Coke is pouring a water bottle, and it's like, go to the bathroom.
What?
Yeah, it's literally just to get people to have to pee and go to the bathroom.
What, there's an ad that tells you to go to the bathroom?
Yeah, it's basically a silence your cell phones, but for your bladder.
What the fuck?
Yeah, and I was like, I had to go pee watching that, and I was like, I'm not doing it. Made it through the whole movie. I was like, bitch, I'm a winner.
Oh my god, I love the idea that it just... before the movie starts, just please go to the bathroom.
Yeah, and it
Don't
literally
piss on the floor.
it basically tells if you're like going with a family or friends, call that man out. Like freaking tell him to go. And we're like, Austin, go. And he's like, I don't need to.
And then 5 minutes later, he
He's
goes,
like, I gotta go. Yeah, it was funny as fuck, though. It was funny.
oh my god.
Alright, what's
That, like, do you think what happened was that, like, somebody pissed on the floor during the movie? And then they were like, please go to the bathroom.
No, I think it was just that like there's like you get that like giant soda, so you drink it before the movie starts and you gotta go pee. So you have to walk in front of everyone, down the aisle, back up the aisle when you come back in front of everybody, and you miss half the movie. That's all.
Yeah. Do you think what happened was they caught wind of that one guy who pissed in the corner in the middle of The Force Awakens?
Did someone do
And they
that?
just said, you don't remember this?
I kind of faintly do.
Okay, so yeah, this was the other story I was going to tell. So basically what happened was Jackson and I and a group of other people, a large group, because our school did this thing.
Wait,
where
that
when you
happened
come
with
back
us?
Yeah, that was with us.
Wait. Oh,
So-
I don't think someone actually pissed in the corner. I think it just sounded like, man, someone pissed in the corner.
No, they 100% pissed in the corner.
It was a strong stream.
I looked over my shoulder and the position that dude was in, I was like, that dude is pissing hardcore.
He was, man. He back turned in the corner. He's got the straddle so the puddle goes between his legs.
And it's one of those things where you look at it and you're just like, if he's not peeing, what is he doing?
Yeah, and you could hear it, bro. That was so bad. But that took some guts. I'm not even mad. I'm impressed.
It was okay. So I'll describe what was happening. So our school used to do this thing where when you come back from winter break, you would do 2 weeks of not school. You would go to school, but you would do you would go to classes that were designed for more
Outside the box
fun
learning.
activity. I don't know how to describe it, but excuse me. So one of the classes that Jackson and I did together was Star Wars class, which our drama teacher started because he loves Star Wars, and it was basically just looking into the history of Star Wars, what made it such a huge phenomenon, and creating these little projects over the course of 2 weeks about Star Wars. Remind me again what you did for your project.
I made some stupid sound that didn't even work.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
Some
I made
stupid sound.
Yeah, it was like I don't even remember. It was just bad. That's all I remember. It sucked.
There were a lot of good ones. I remember there was somebody who did like a Lego stop motion thing, which is very atypical of Star Wars. But I thought it was cool because they did like a green screen thing. I don't know. It was neat.
Oh, with like the
mine.
destroyer.
Hmm?
Was it with the?
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
like Lewis. I remember.
Yeah. So mine was because while I was doing research to see what I could do, I noticed that the thing that I remember the most about the Star Wars movies is how many fucking times people say no. And not just how many times people say no, how many times people fucking scream no. Like, they really want you to know how devastated they are in those movies. So I was like, hey, what if I combined every single no in the entire series and made a song remix out of it? And that's what I did.
That was funny. That was a good class.
It was a good time. But the end of the class, because The Force Awakens had just come out at the time we were doing that, and I think everybody in the class had seen it at that point, but we just went to go see it again just for fun. And at the time, I didn't like The Force Awakens, and then I went to go see it again, and I was like, oh, that wasn't bad. And then I saw it again at one point after that, and I was like, no, it's still not very good. But easily the most memorable experience while watching it was when we were all sitting there, just watching the movie, having a good time, and you know that scene where, like, Rey gets knocked out by Kylo Ren, and then Finn, as his usual shtick with his character, runs up and goes, Rey, 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 and just kind of is really concerned. And then there's that bit where Kylo Ren, he turns on his lightsaber behind him, and then there's like 10 seconds of silence and tension building between the two characters. So some guy in the theater was really hoping that scene was going to be a lot louder than it actually was. Because as soon as he turned on the lightsaber and every single sound in the movie stopped besides that, you could just hear faintly in the distance behind us in the back corner just...
That was it. I feel like I remember that, dude.
All of us turned around like, what the fuck? And there was just this dude bent over in the back corner pissing.
Yeah, it was funny, but...
I don't think anybody talked about the actual movie after we got out. Everybody was so focused on the fact that some dude peed on the fucking floor.
Like, are you 6? You can't just walk to the bathroom. Like...
He didn't want to miss anything, dude.
Bro, okay, if it was episode 8, I'd be like, you ain't missing anything.
No, that's the only one where I'd be like, yeah, okay, I could see why you want to stay.
No,
for
episode
that.
8's the worst one.
He should have gone to the bathroom during The Force Awakens. He should have abso-fucking-lutely gone to the bathroom during episode 9. That's just, go to the bathroom and just stay there.
No.
Don't even come back.
He should have
Don't even come back to see what you might have missed.
To watch
just
the best
fucking
movie
leave.
in the franchise. Don't at me.
Oh, I'm gonna at you. I'm gonna at you so hard that you won't even be able to feel your fucking feet afterwards.
Unadded. Unfriended.
This podcast is right. Quit. Yeah, we have our disagreements, but we both like Star Wars.
Your opinion is just wrong.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say your opinion is just your opinion. I was gonna say yeah, absolutely, but no, I mean, I respect your opinion. You like episode 9. It's very respectable opinion.
I respect it.
No matter how
the
awful
council
the
has
movie
made a
is,
decision. I acknowledge the council has made a decision, but because it is a dumbass decision, I have elected to ignore
it. It's so dead.
Sam Jackson just gets up after Parasite wins. I acknowledge the council made a decision, but because it's a stupid ass decision, I have decided to ignore it. That would be.
All right. Should we wrap it up then? Do we have any more movie stories?
No, I don't.
Oh, wait. Okay, I have one more. Okay. So, my friend and I used to do this thing where we would go to the movies, we would go up to the counter, we'd say, give us your worst movie. Like, what's the worst movie you have?
I think you told me, yeah. I've heard this strategy.
One time.
Oh.
They said, oh, we got, fucking, what was it?
I got it.
The Space Between Us.
There was
a dumb fucking movie.
Ain't no space between them.
No, there was no space between us in this theater, let me tell you. So, we asked for this movie. We didn't even know what it was. They just said it was the worst movie, and we were like, okay, I'll go fucking see it. And anyone who remembers this event before I deleted the video because it was a dumb video, basically anything I made before 2018 was a dumb video. I gave The Space Between Us, I think, the 4th worst movie of 2017, which was absolutely true because it sucked. But we went into this theater, and we look around. It is fucking empty. There is no one here except 2 people.
One.
A 20-something male and a 20-something female. And we are dumbfounded. We are like, why are these people here? This movie's supposedly been out for like 3 weeks. We're like, what? Why are they here? Why do they want to see this? And then as we're looking around for a seat, it hits me. This dude is here to get a BJ in public. This dude is here because he knows nobody is going to come see this dumb fucking movie that nobody knows about. and he's gonna get a blowjob in public. So I tap my friend and I go, dude, let's sit right behind him.
You're awful human beings. I hope you know that. That's against bro code. That's against bro code.
It was their fault. They sat in the second back row.
No, they should have sat in the front.
The second to last row, and I was like, bro, just sit in the back row. This wouldn't have happened if you didn't sit in the back. Actually, no, it would have still happened. We would have sat next to him at that point.
Jesus Christ, you're horrible. You dude's trying to enjoy life, and you're like, he would get mad if you sat next to him.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, he was mad. So, basically, my line of thinking was either he's going to be completely shameless and still do it, or they're going to have to sit through this dumbass movie.
They sat through this dumbass.
So yeah, that's what happened, because we were underage, and I think they knew we were underage, and they knew there was probably a law against getting a blowjob in front of two young men.
I think there's a law against getting a blowjob in public, sir.
Well, yeah, but not when you do it very discreetly like they did. So what happened was we sat behind him, and immediately, because they were doing a little bit of foreplay before we got there. Like, we could tell the only reason I knew that's what they were there for is because they were like making out before we got there, and then when they noticed that we were there, they stopped and they're like, wait, what the fuck, someone else went to come see this?
Yeah.
And then even worse was that they completely stopped doing anything as soon as we sat behind them.
Oh, yeah, of course.
And they just sat there with their arms crossed, just watching this stupid fucking movie that let me mad at it was terrible. It was actually like a horrible, horrible film. But they sat there and just crossed their arms, and then
I would be so pissed if
20 minutes before the movie ended, they left. They decided they had enough.
Bro, the movie sucks. You ruined his life. In that moment, his life was ruined.
And as soon as they left the theater, and as soon as we heard the doors close, because we didn't want them to know this happened and then come back in and then him fucking beat us up for ruining his plans. But as soon as we heard the door close, we just started cracking up. We just looked at each other and we started laughing our asses off.
I would lose it.
Oh, man, it was good fucking times. Good times. So that is...
If I was them, I would have just got up and moved a few rows down.
But we still would have seen him. We were sitting in the back row.
I would have sat
sitting
in
the middle of the back row.
In the front, I would have sat. I would have been like, y'all can watch.
Yeah, we were thinking like either we're gonna ruin their plans and it's gonna be hilarious, or we're gonna get to see a blowjob in public. But no, the first one was what ended up happening. And I kind of preferred that. I wouldn't have had as much fun if they just did it anyways. There was something more satisfying about knowing that they both went home very upset.
Yeah. They were probably... We gotta find out who it was. Get them on the podcast. Get them out here. Be like... They'd be like, it wasn't the first time. Wasn't the last. To be exact,
yeah, I wonder if that was like the first time they tried it, and then afterwards they were just like, we're never doing that again, because they knew the risk was like too high.
Bro, that was like the 1 in a million people going to that movie. Who would go?
If it were like legit, if it were any other day, he would have gotten a blowjob in public.
Bro, other time.
It had to be Saturday. It had to be 5 o'clock. It had to be exactly when my friend and I were just ready to go see this dumbass movie.
They were probably like, everybody's gonna be at dinner or not seeing this film.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably what they were thinking. Like, the few people who would see it have probably already seen it, because it's like 3 weeks after the movie came out.
Facts. It was not new.
Like, I'm gonna look it up because I remember this movie flopped so hard. Like, it was a huge monetary waste.
Yeah.
The space between us. It had a budget of $30 million and it made $14.8 million.
It's warm still.
It did not even make back half of its budget. And considering the budget only, on Google, the budget is only regarding, like, how much it costs to make the movie. That's not counting advertising as well. And considering neither of us, actually, you know what? Considering neither of us actually knew this movie, there's a good chance there was no money spent on advertising.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's my story. And I think that concludes this episode of the CJ Taste.
By far the best story. All right.
I have better stories than that, but we'll save them for other times when we have different story topics.
Good.
I was kind of hoping we would do travel stories, but then when I saw movie stories, I was like, that probably makes more sense.
That's next.
All right, so that concludes this episode of the CJ Taste. Thank you for listening. Thank you for, listening.
Yep.
Goodbye.